We're joined now by Washington Post reporter Philip Bump and roll call columnist John Allen in Washington. John, good to see you again. Philip, good to see you here in New York. So we heard President Obama question why Republican leaders continue to support Trump, even though they denounce those controversial things that he says. After a while, these sort of sound hollow. I mean, on one hand, you repudiate all the things that he says and he stands for, right, and on the other, you're sort of still saying that you're going to endorse him.
Right. Well, I mean, they haven't repudiated everything, obviously. He still, is in general agreement with the Republican line on a lot of issues. But yeah, I mean, I think as this campaign progresses, particularly if the polls continue to separate after the Democratic convention, we saw Hillary Clinton get a big bump in polls, both from CBS and CNN. If that trend continues, then Republicans are going to have to choose between supporting Donald Trump and supporting their own eventual candidacies. If Donald Trump continues to be unpopular, that, more than anything else, is probably going to be the thing that turns people's heads.
And, John, we know that a sitting Republican congressman, Representative Richard Hanna, has actually announced that he will support Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. What do you make of that, and how's that going to affect the race?
There are a couple of things going on here. Number one, this is a retiring congressman, so he doesn't have to worry about Republicans voting for him in November. But I thought what was really interesting about his op-ed that he wrote on Syracuse.com was that he said that Hillary Clinton has been about things larger than herself for her entire lifetime. And I'll tell you, that is exactly what Hillary Clinton is trying to project and has had so much difficulty projecting because her critics believe that her ambition is number one and everything else is number two. So it's interesting to see this Republican congressman taking a narrative and putting out a narrative line that is something so much at the heart of what Hillary Clinton would like to communicate to voters.
Philip, during today's rally, Trump argued that even people who don't like him will vote for him because of concerns about the Supreme Court. Take a listen.
Even if you don't, and you do like me, I hope, but I said, even if you can't stand Donald Trump, you think Donald Trump is the worst, you're going to vote for me. You know why? Justices of the Supreme Court. If they pick judges, we're going to end up with another Venezuela, except just a bigger version. It's going to be a disaster for this country.
So it's interesting. I've long argued that the likability of a candidate, I've argued this to political science, should not matter. It should just only matter if they are going to support the things that make your lives a little easier. So he's taking that line, but can people get past some of the things that he says that are either what some people consider race baiting or fear mongering? Can people get past that?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think he was making a pointed reference to the conservative commentator Hugh Hewitt, who essentially said, I don't like Donald Trump, but I believe the Supreme Court is more important than that. I think that's what Donald Trump was trying to play. We'd seen in past polls that actually most of the support for both Clinton and Trump came from people who wanted to vote against the other candidate, which has been a big motivating factor in this weird election where both of them are very unpopular. But after the Democratic convention, CNN's poll found that that had switched for Hillary Clinton. Now most of her support comes from people who want her to be president as opposed to Trump not being president. So I think he's playing sort of a complicated game.
John, you talk about a group that isn't really doing well with Donald Trump. He's stirring controversies again about women in the workforce, particularly women who are harassed at work, that they should either find a new company to work for or switch careers. And he was also asked about Ivanka, his daughter, what she would do if she was harassed. And he actually said that she should go find a new job or, go find a new job or move somewhere else, right? Damaging. I mean, this is a group of women who really are not supporting him. How damaging will those remarks be when he's trying to really reach out to these women voters?
Rena, I'm not sure that these remarks are that much more damaging than any other set of remarks that Donald Trump has made about women. You bring up Ivanka Trump. Interestingly, Donald Trump once said that he would date his daughter if she were not his daughter, and he is also her employer. I'm not sure if that counts as something that might cause HR to make a couple phone calls. But I think, look, Donald Trump has said any number of awful things about any number of women, and I think this doesn't help him. I think it cements that narrative. I think it makes it harder for him to appeal to women with whom he has a tremendous gap in terms of voting. Versus
John, is there anything,
polling.
though, that he could do at this point to reach out to those women? I mean, obviously the comments that are coming out fast and furious seem to be attacking or demonizing women, especially this latest one, really hitting a nerve with a lot of women.
I think his best move would be to apologize and start to pivot, but we haven't seen that instinct in Donald Trump yet.
Philip, you wrote an article recently about the country, how it's reacted to Trump and Clinton's respective speeches at the convention. More people seemed to dislike, there's your article there, dislike Trump's address, and Hillary Clinton has seen a big bump in the polls. So the question is, how does she capitalize on that?
It's a good question. I mean, Hillary Clinton is doing everything that a normal presidential campaign does. She had a good convention. She got a bump out of the convention. Donald Trump was the first candidate since Gallup asked this question where the convention actually hurt him somehow because of all, the way it was put together. Who knows what all the various details are. Hillary Clinton, I'm not a political strategist in the business of offering her advice, but she is running a normal campaign. And it seems as though against Donald Trump, where Donald Trump has spent most of this week arguing about this speaker, this devastating speaker at the Democratic convention, instead of talking about jobs numbers or anything along those lines. It seems as though as long as Hillary Clinton keeps her head down and just does a normal campaign, it's hard to see how Donald Trump shifts things dramatically and catches her.
All right, Philip Bump of the Washington Post and John Allen of Roll Call. Always good to see you both. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vlad. Thanks, Rena.